Hi guys, this is gonna be a different video from what I ever expected to make, but it's been 3 weeks and 1 day since Isabella's been born, and things have kind of settled in, so I'm kind of ready to talk about it. It's more for me to cope with things, and I'm watching her, so if my eyes are looking that way, it's because I'm looking at her. Just kind of making grunts. Anyway, um, I'm trying to cope with things because things didn't go the way that I ever imagined with labor and delivery, like I mentioned in my labor and delivery video. But also things, I'm gonna lay down for this. Things did not go the way I planned with the aftermath of my baby. So I'm gonna start off with saying I'll start off with what happened, and I'm not going to go into too many details, kind of skim the line of everything. I'm just bringing this video out there because I know that other people have been through it, and I would like to have support maybe, and also for anyone that may be going through it or will go through it, just to let you know that you're not alone. So anyways, after I came out of my C-section, I was in recovery for pretty long because I had a lot of bleeding, more than the regular. So they wanted to keep an eye on me. So she was born around 4:34. No, she was born on 4:34 p.m. And I didn't get to see her till I didn't even get to hear about her until later. Around 9 p.m. they wheeled me to my room, and on the way to wheeling me to my room, this doctor goes up to me, and he's like following me, and he's saying, your baby in the nursery stopped breathing for a moment, and she started turning blue, and they were, ugh, I hate being emotional. That they had to take her out of the nursery because she was kept breathing, but when the nurse would hit her feet, she would start again. So that sounds like an average thing for some infants or newborns to go through. And so I was scared when I go into my room, because what if that had happened, if she came home with me? I was just thinking of the worst thing possible, and that was my fear of her, something being wrong with her. You guys are probably going to hate me for always being emotional, but this is a very emotional time for me, so if you don't like it, don't watch. Anyway, so that was that, and then after, like the next day, another doctor came in, so I didn't even get to see her that night. I got to hold her after for like probably 5 minutes, and that was it. And then I couldn't get out of bed, and she didn't come into the room because she went straight to the NICU. So then, after that, so the next day a doctor came in, and he was saying how the baby was having seizures, and I was like, what? Wasn't it breathing problems? Now it's seizures? What are you talking about? And then they said she had uncontrollable ones, and they had to try to get it stable, and then they did a CAT scan that day. Actually in the morning I got to see her, and she was in like tubes and stuff, like in a breathing tube, and all these IVs in her, and it was really hard to see because like it was just hard. And then I got to like hold her a little bit, and then all of a sudden she started having breathing problems again, and we had to take her away and, you know, watch her closely, so I couldn't even really hold her. And then so anyways, another doctor came and said, like, they did a CAT scan and all this, and it ended up showing that she had a stroke, and that's what caused the seizures. And she had so many seizures that they like needed so many medications to finally calm it down and finally stop it. And then yeah, so she went on so many medications that, I mean, she finally got stabilized and she had no more seizures. The seizures were under control, but they made her very sleepy, so she needed to get a respirator in her throat, and she needed to get an EEG on her brain to watch the activity to make sure she wasn't having any more seizures. And the day that we, like, that was like the next day, like the third day or something, or second day, I don't remember. But when me and Jay walked in and saw all this stuff on her, it was so hard to see. Like, her whole head was covered with like these things because they were monitoring her brain. And then she has her respirator and she's like sleeping, like knocked out, and all these IVs in her, and it was just really, really hard to see. And they were saying she was in really bad shape and all of this, and it was so difficult for us to handle because you don't think anything's gonna go wrong, and even if something does, you think it's like one of those simple fixes, you know. And I had no idea what was going on. Nobody in my family ever had this, and I never ever imagined this. Seizures is a big deal to me, and a stroke, you know, and they said it's more common than people think. And I don't know, it was just so difficult, and I couldn't help but to blame myself. Like, what did I do wrong when I was pregnant, or what could I have done different? And everyone says like you didn't do anything wrong, but like you still blame yourself. Well, at least I did, and I didn't know what. I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's all on me because I was the one carrying her, and it was just hard. It still is. But anyway, she's all better now, and like they got every seizure under control, and she's still under medications. She was in the NICU for like 18 days, so that was the most difficult thing for me because I had to go home without her after like 4 days of being in the hospital. It's like you go to the hospital to have a baby, and then like if you leave without one, it's hard. Even though like you can visit her, it was really, 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 really hard. Like, I can't even explain it, and nobody will know unless they go through it. But like after about a week and a half, I mean, she was getting better every day, and they were so shocked. They thought she'd be in the NICU for months, and they told me like, don't even expect her to come home anytime soon. They didn't say that, but they made it seem like that, basically. Like, I'm not saying that they were that rude to say that, but they were saying like, you know, just don't expect it too soon because we don't want your hopes to go up. And then, you know, and so that was hard because I was like, when is she gonna come home? It's like I don't even feel like a mother, you know. I'm home, and I don't know, it was just really hard. And I don't know, it was just too much for me to handle. And I don't know, so basically after 2 weeks But after 2.5 weeks, like she needed to have she didn't eat for like a whole week. She was like eating, it was just like the basic nutrition for a baby in the IV because she couldn't eat. And then after a week or so, they needed to, she was getting better and stuff, and they were weaning some medications off. And the EEG was starting to look good, so they took all of that stuff off. And after the respirator came out, she needed to start, eating or practicing eating. And meanwhile, I was pumping my milk because I was planning to breastfeed and stuff. So I pumped a lot and stored my milk, and I'm still storing the extras. And so she needed to eat through a tube for like a day or two, only because her medication made her so tired that she was way too sleepy to eat during some of the feedings. But she got the feeding down so well with the bottle, and she started drinking a lot, and she did really, really well. Like, she learns really fast, and everyone was shocked at how fast she was learning, and how fast she got better. And every day I was just anxious to take her home. And some of the days, like a week and a half later to 2 weeks before she came, me and Jay would go like out for a few hours, like while we were at the hospital. And honestly, all I can think of is my baby and how I wanted to just be with her instead. And honestly, like, going out and doing all that stuff didn't interest me, and I didn't care about any of that. I wanted to just be next to her, and I just wanted to hang out with her. And everyone was saying, like, well, enjoy your time, or at least, relax while she's there, do everything you can. But that's easier said than done, and I had no interest in like relaxing or caring about any of that. And like, no offense, but like, I didn't care about really hanging out with people and stuff. I just didn't. I just wanted her home, and I wanted to be a mother, like a regular mother, and being home taking care of my new baby. And I would have a lot of meltdowns in public, and it was embarrassing, but at the same time I didn't care at all about what people thought. And like, when I'd go out, it's different if you go out and your parents or a babysitter or whatever is taking care of your kid and you're out. But it's different when you're out and your baby's in the hospital and everyone's asking and congratulating and asking what's going on, and you have no idea when she's gonna come home, and everyone's asking, and I don't even want to, and I didn't want to tell people details. I would just say, oh, she had breathing problems, and that was it, because I didn't want to go into detail because it was hard. And yeah, so that's my baby situation, and she finally got to go home after like 18 days of being in the NICU. It was the best day of my life when she came home. I took so many pictures, and yeah, so now it's getting used to the hang of her being home, and getting her medications in and making sure she takes them. It's hard to force them to eat and drink and stuff when they don't want to, and she's like a time schedule for it, so it's like difficult. And I'm still pumping. I tried to do breastfeeding, and I just got frustrated, and she got frustrated. I got frustrated because she was crying, and I would not frustrated, just like I would feel down because she would cry and she didn't want to eat from my boob. She wanted the bottle. But as long as she's getting my breast milk, that's all I care about. And everyone thinks it's easier. Like, people think it's so easy to get a baby to breastfeed, ones that haven't been parents yet, and ones that even have, that were lucky enough to have their baby latch and take the boob and stuff. So I would get discouraged when my aunts or something, or people would say, you know, why aren't you getting her on the boob and breastfeeding? And it's just different. My baby's waking up. But it's difficult. It's more difficult than people think, especially if your baby was not breastfeeding for 3 weeks, basically 3 weeks of their life in the beginning, and you're trying to teach them. And I know it's possible, but I don't have time for that. Like, honestly, my whole day is already like pumping. I don't have an electric pump. I didn't expect to ever need one, so I never got one. And then when she was in the hospital, they had an electric pump I was able to use. But when I got home, Jay got me a manual one, but only one, so it takes me at least 40 minutes to pump every 3 hours. So I'd say my day is full, and on top of taking care of the baby. But I love it. I love every minute of being a mother, and I love her being home. And I just appreciate her so much more because of what we went through. And I just hope that she is better and never gets sick again. And doctors say that it could have been a one-time thing, or it could be more than one time. But I'm hoping it's just a one-time thing. And for those that wonder why it could have happened, they are still doing their research on what could have caused it. So I can't give you that answer, but that's about it. If you have more questions, or if you have any advice for those that could have went through something similar about like having their baby in the NICU, or those that are going through it, I mean, just leave me a comment or leave me a message, and that's that. So I'm gonna make my postpartum video now. Now that you guys know what's going on, I can explain it without explaining everything all over again. In my postpartum, I'll just go on with what's been going on. So those that don't watch this video are gonna be lost, I guess. Anyway, bye.